January. Wednesday, I found a way to have some fun with the big wheel Raleigh got me for Christmas. I came up with this game where one guy rides down the hill and the other guy tries to knock him off with a football. Raleigh was the first one down the hill and I was the thrower. Shriek! Rumble, 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 rumble. It's a lot harder to hit a moving target than I thought. Plus, I didn't get a lot of practice. It took Raleigh like 10 minutes to walk the big wheel back up the hill after the trip down. Raleigh kept asking to switch places and have me be the one who rides the big wheel, but I'm no fool. That thing was hitting 35 miles an hour, and it didn't have any brakes. Do you want to have a turn now? Pant, pant. No, thanks. I'm not as good as you. Anyways, I never did knock Raleigh off the big wheel today, but I guess I was having something to work at over the rest of Christmas vacation. Thursday, I was heading up to Raleigh's today to play our big wheel game again. But Mom said I had to finish my Christmas thank yous before I went out anywhere. I thought I could just crank out my thank you notes in a half hour, but when it came to actually writing them, my mind went blank. Let me tell you, it's not easy writing a thank you note for stuff you didn't want in the first place. I start with the non close items because I thought they'd be the easiest, but after two or three cards, I realized I was practically writing the same thing every time. So I wrote up a general form on the computer with blanks for things I needed to change. Writing the cards from there was a breeze. Dear Aunt Lydia, thank you much for this awesome encyclopedia. How did you know I wanted that for Christmas? I love the way the encyclopedia looks on my shelf. All my friends will be so jealous and have a very own encyclopedia. Thank you for making it the best Christmas ever. Sincerely, Greg. My system worked out pretty well for the first couple of gifts, but after that it didn't work so much. Dear Aunt Loretta, thank you so much for the awesome pants. How did you know I wanted them for Christmas? I love the way the pants look on my legs. All my friends will be so jealous that I own my very own pants. Thank you for making this a great, best Christmas ever. Love, sincerely, Greg. Friday, I finally knocked Raleigh off the big wheel today, but it didn't happen the way I expected. I was trying to hit him on the shoulder, but I missed, and the football went right under the front tire. Flip! Raleigh tried to break his fall by sticking out his arms, but he landed pretty hard on his left hand. I figured he'd just shake it off and get right back on, but he didn't. I tried to hear him up with jokes, but usually cracking him up, but they weren't working. So I knew he must be really hurt bad. Sniff, sniff. Hey, look at me. I'm your dad. Durr, durr, durr. Monday, Christmas vacation is over, and now we're back at school. And you remember Raleigh's big wheel accident? Well, he broke his hand. And now he has to wear a cast. And today everybody was crowding around him like he was a hero or something. Does it still hurt? I guess a little. You poor thing. I tried to cash in on some of Raleigh's new popularity, but it was totally backfired. You meanie! I'm the one who broke his hand? At lunch, a bunch of girls invited Raleigh over to their table so they could feed him. What really ticks me off about this is Raleigh is right handed, and it's his left hand that's broken. So he can feed himself fine, just fine. Here comes a little plane. Yum yum. Tuesday, I realized Raleigh injury thing is pretty good racket, so I decided it was time for me to have an injury of my own. I took some gauze from home, wrapped it around my hand to make it look like I was hurt. It's raging infection caused by a splinter that was left untreated. I couldn't figure out why the girls weren't swarming to me like they swarmed Raleigh, but then I realized what the problem was. See, the cast is a great gimmick because everyone wants to sign their name on it, but it's not exactly easy to sign a gauze with a pen. So I came up with a solution I thought was just as good. Would you like to be the first one to sign my sympathy sheet? That totally was a bust, too. My bandage did end up attracting attention from a couple people, but believe me, they were not the type of people I was going for. Can I peek at your infection? Go away. Monday last week, we started the third quarter at school, so I have a whole bunch of new classes. One of the classes I signed up for is something called independent study. I wanted to sign up for home economics too because I was pretty good at home ec 1. But being good at sewing does not exactly buy you popularity points at school. Hey, look, Greg has a purse. Actually, it's an embroidered book bag. Oh, okay. Percy? Anyways, independent study thing is an experiment they're trying out at our school for the first time. The idea is that the class gets assigned a project and you have to go work on it together with a teacher in a room, with no teacher in a room, and for the whole quarter. The catch is, when you're done, everyone in your group has the same grade. I found out that Ricky Fisher is in my class, which could be a big problem. Ricky's big claim to fame is that he'll pick gum off the bottom of a desk and chew it if you pay him 50 cents. I don't really have high hopes for our final grade. Today, we got our independent assignments. And guess what it is? We have to build a robot. At first, everybody kind of freaked out because we thought we were going to have to build a robot from scratch. But Mr. Darnell told us we didn't have to build an actual robot. We just need to come up with ideas for what our robot might look like and what kinds of things it would be able to do. When he left the room, we were on our own, and we started brainstorming right away. I wrote down a bunch of ideas on the blackboard. Everybody was pretty impressed with my ideas, but it was easy to come up with them. All I did was write down all the things I hate doing myself. But a couple of girls got in front of the room and they had some ideas of their own, so they erased my list and drew up their own plan. They wanted to invent a robot that would give you dating advice and 10 types of lip gloss on fingertips. All us guys thought this was the stupidest idea I've ever heard. So we ended up splitting into two groups, girls and boys. The boys went to the other side of the room and the girls stood around talking. We had the serious workers in one place and we got to work. Someone had the idea that you can say your name to the robot and it will say it back to you. Hi, Bob. Very nice to meet you, Bob. But then someone else pointed out that you shouldn't be able to use bad words for your name because the robot shouldn't be able to curse. So we decided we should come up with a list of all the bad words the robot shouldn't be able to say. We came up with all the regular bad words, but then Ricky Fisher came up with 21 more the rest of us had never even heard of before. So Ricky ended up being the most valuable contributor of the project. Right before the bell rang, Mr. Narnell came back in the room checking our progress. He picked up the pieces of paper we were writing and read it over. To make a long story short, independent study was canceled for the rest of the year. Well, at least it was for us boys. So if robots in the future are going around with cherry lip for fingers, at least you know how it all got started. Thursday. In school today, we got General Assembly that showed us a movie, It's Great to Be Me, which they show us every year. The movie is all about how you should be happy with who you are and not change anything about yourself. To be honest with you, I think it's a really dumb message to be telling kids, especially ones at my school. Shove. It's great to be me. Ha 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 ha. Later on, they made an announcement that there are some openings in the safety patrols, and that got me thinking. If someone picks on a safety patrol, it can get them suspended. The way I figured it, I could use extra protection I could get. Plus, I realized maybe I'll be in a position of authority would be good for me. I went to, can we please cross the street now? Nope. But we've been standing here for an hour. I went down to Mr. Winky's office and signed myself up. And I got Rowley to sign up too. I thought Mr. Winsky could make us do a bunch of chin-ups or some jumping jacks or something to prove we were up for the job, but he just handed us our belts and badges on the spot. Mr. Winsky said the openings were for a special assignment. Our school is right next to the elementary school, and they've got half-day kindergarten there. He wants us to walk the morning session kids home in the middle of the day. I realized that meant I would miss 20 minutes of pre-algebra. Rowley must have figured that out too because he started to speak up, but I gave him a wicked pinch underneath the desk before he could finish a sentence. But we would miss Yahoo! I couldn't believe my luck. I was getting instant bully protection and a free pass from half of pre-algebra, and I didn't even have to lift a finger. Today was our first day at safety patrol. Me and Raleigh don't technically have stations like all the other patrols, so that means we don't have to stand out in the freezing cold for an hour before school. But that didn't stop them from coming to the cafeteria for the free hot chocolate they had out for the other patrollers before homeroom. Another great perk is that you get to show up 10 minutes late for first period. I'm telling you, I've got it made with the safety patrol thing. 12:15, me and Riley left school, walked the kindergartners home. The whole trip ate up 45 minutes, and there was only 20 minutes left of pre-algebra when we got back. Walking the kid home was no sweat, but one of the kindergartners started to smell a little funny, and I think maybe he had an accident in his pants. He tried to tell me about it, but I just stared straight ahead and kept walking. I'll take these kids home, but believe me, I didn't sign up for diaper duty.